Now, we said that we're going to kind of give you a clue as to what physically happens if you are in this change in the police system's operation. So, number one, if the police stumble upon a crime being committed and do not have a three-man team, then the police officer can use the paint gun or reasonable force to protect a person's life or something like that, or the two officers. But they're not a legal felony initiated order type system. The officer is not protected by the three-man team and must be very, very careful. Because now you have a citizen who can say, well, this is what I did, and there's no tape, there's no video of it, so there's no, you understand what we're saying? One officer off duty or two officers stumble on a crime, they have to take action. The very first action should be getting a valid three-officer team on the way as backup as soon as possible, so that they have the video of what's going on. And there's a problem. A proper police team is the only police that can demand or command and make it a felony if it's not followed. Any police officer not in that legal group is taking a chance with his or her career because there's nobody recording it. You surely get the concept there. It is for our safety and for our proof that the recording is made. Without the recording, there can be abuse from the officer, and there's no proof one way or the other. And believe me, we're going to take the citizens' word for it more likely than we are the officer in that case. So the officer has to be extremely careful. Like the first thing to do if there's not a death being, if there's not injury or death at that point, then maybe the police officer can call for backup immediately and walk away. I'm not taking a chance with my job. I'm not a legal three-man team. But on the other hand, you have to take care of the crime. So the officer has a little bit of difficulty there, but not a whole lot. Literally, he could walk away and have the three-man team come and deal with it. It wouldn't be a good idea if there's immediate chance of somebody being shot, but well, you can see the problem. Without the recording, there can be abuse of all kinds, and there's no proof one way or the other, so that must be avoided at all costs. Basically, the officer who's not in a three-man team is just a citizen, and any citizen can stop a felony if they can, but the problem that they have to deal with is, do they do it right? Well, you know what the problem is. You can see a citizen trying to stop a felony and ended up in prison himself or herself. De-escalation is the main effort until the proper team arrives, and the officer will have to be very careful in this case because he or she is not being properly recorded. People have a right to the people have rights that go along with the new rules that they have to follow. If there's not an immediate threat of injury or death, the officer might have to just call the crime and move away. Call in for backup, if you will. So that's one of the things that you see that's really totally different. Number two, there will be no excuse for no three-man team. What did they say? There will be no excuse accepted for no three-man teams. And someone in the legal system has to be brought up on charges if that happens. What are they saying? They're saying there's no excuse for not having a three-man team. We hire enough three-man teams to have them around and like ready to go to work or even be at work. So if you come up with a situation and you have no three-man team involved, there's no excuse for that, and somebody is going to be brought up on charges if that's what happens. That means that the money has to be there to form and outfit that three-man woman team, and there's no exceptions. What are we saying here? Stumbling upon a criminal activity can happen, but it better not be used in any way to get around the three-man woman team recording system. If it can be found that that's what's happening to get around the system, then someone needs to be removed from power, and the problem is then corrected. Creeping corruption, you understand? Creeping corruption. We try to eliminate that possibility. We watch for it all the time. 3. A crime is thought to have been committed, and there are people standing around to see what's happened. The three-man woman unit arrives, and someone is asked what happened. If the crime scene is safe, and there's no medical emergency, then the 3-unit team begins to organize the people standing there into a line. The front one, okay, everybody get in a line. Now you have to get in a line. I don't care if you're just walking by. If the police officer says get in the line, you get in the line. The front one is asked for an ID, and his or her ID is scanned. Yes, that with the new law that protects the people instead of the greedy overchargers, you will have a valid state police ID. Any information illegally gathered by anyone using that ID will be a criminal offense, and the person who misuses it can be charged. That's changed. So now we have a state police ID. You have to have a state police ID. They have to know who you are. Okay, so that may not be settled, but that's the way it is. So you will learn to figure out a way to do that gets rid of anybody's objection to having an ID card. Certainly the police must have a right to find out who you are if there's a crime being committed. I mean, come on. So, anyway, the front person in the line is asked if they know anything about the crime. If yes, they go to, and we'll say, they move them to the right, new line, to the right, or to the left, or whatever. But anyway, a new line. If they say no, they don't know anything about it, then immediately they're pictured and let go. If they do not answer or do not have an ID, they also go to the right. When all the people who were there have been sorted out, the people who stated they know something or were pulled to the right for another reason will tell what they know or why they don't have the ID, or they'll be questioned. As the next 3-man team arrives, they will process. The process is speeded up because the line is split into two lines, and then the 2 teams go to work and ask the questions. Those people that are possibly going to get arrested, or at least need to be questioned further, they are taken to the jail or courthouse, and the questioning place, the courthouse, or anyway, the place where the questioning occurs, and the officer of the people is right there. That person stands at the person's side as he or she is questioned until the information is collected. That is what is expected as soon as the people's trust government is in place. Now, what you've heard is that the people are questioned, and why do they do it the way we just recommended? Because the people just walking by need to go on by. That's part of, don't interfere with my freedom to do whatever I want. If you have the information, you should be stopped and questioned. If you don't have a police ID, you should be, stopped and questioned. So that's why. Number 4, now if the crowd is hollering and unruly, one of the officers has has commanded them to be silent. If they do not obey, they are recorded by the camera officer and asked again with the understanding that if they do not obey, they're committing a felony. At that point, because of the new laws, we no longer have a riot, but rather order. Now, you can see that what a change. You don't have a rioting, because all the officer has to do is walk up to you and say, leave. If you don't leave, you all of a sudden lose all your rights, and you're a felon. And you know what that can mean. We know that at first this is going to be hard, but those officers represent you and me, and they're not some legal worker, if you will, or cop. They're actually you and me, trying to keep you and me safe. One of the major duties of our government. If the crowd still does not become silent and get in line, the officers at that point can use whatever force they need to use in order to get the order. They can call a SWAT team. they can make the order themselves. Anyone in the crowd who does not follow the given order is subject to being a felon, and a felon can be sprayed, physically beaten, shot, tasered, killed, whatever force is needed, and that needed force is being recorded. So you have the top people in the legal system taking a look at the video of that and saying, you could have done it. I mean, number one, the officer is taught you could have done it this way. You know, they have the ability to see what's wrong and teach a better way. And number two, they see that you've done it legally, and people have no say. We got a video that shows that you did not turn around and walk away like you were told to do. You're a felon. You have no rights. You're blah blah blah. You want to talk about different, but you know, with the education that we give all these people, all of a sudden that's the way it is. And you know, the complaints that you have about what, you know, I look at it myself and I say, if I was in that situation, what would I complain about? Being stopped? I don't think so. What would I complain about? That the cop did? Oh, the cop can't do that because he's being recorded. Let's see. What am I going to complain about? I guess I can't complain about anything, and that's where we want it to be. We make sure that the people that are just walking by, walk by, and get out of here. Go on with your life. The people that know something or were involved in the crime are stopped. So that's the understanding that we have. In number 5, they say, number 5, understand that the crowd has been thoroughly educated about this new process, so there's no excuse for them not to follow the order. You also understand that the second the new law goes into effect, or even before that, there is a major research into what can best stop a crowd or even a person with the least amount of damage. In other words, they're doing research. And the crime prevention group is the one that passes that down to the officer and says, okay, research indicates that if you do this, this will happen, and that's better than what we've seen so far. Still, the officer has the legal right to get control, and they're being recorded to make sure they use the appropriate measures to accomplish that goal safely. We no longer make the stupid rule that forces the officer to take tremendous chances with their lives just so the do-gooders can have their advertised induced excitement. People's trust or late night entertainment news system gets the videotape those things and says, oh wow, look, no, we're putting an end to that. The do-gooders, go find something else to, you know, get your thrill from. Number 6. So do you understand what we're saying there? All this excitement and thrill and cop getting and cop this and that's all just, you know, soapbox entertainment. It's all things for the television, things that people get to watch on television, and that's fine. Go ahead and make a movie like that if you want to. Go ahead. The only thing you can't do is call him a cop. But you can make a movie that's exciting and, you know, go ahead. But don't do it out there in the real world, because those people are human beings. Those police officers are human beings, and they have a right to not be shot before they get to defend themselves any different than you, because they are you. Okay, so 6. So if the crowd does not follow the order, a paint gun can be fired. The second the paint gun is fired, the aggressive person is under the problem of the SWAT team being contacted, because you cannot fire a paint gun without activating the SWAT team, and they're going to come and get you. And boy, say it 100 times, you do not want to be gotten by the SWAT team. On their arrival, they will be in charge of the safety of the area and containment as the offending uncontrolled person is taken care of. Any person would be fooled to want to do anything but fall on the ground and pray that the officers do not have to do anything more than handcuff him or her. And again and again we say, you'd be a damn fool to tackle the SWAT team. So lay down on the ground and put your hands in front of your head and pray, because they have the legal right to kill you. They can't do it because they're being recorded, but if you do anything wrong, they can. And you might have to scratch your nose. You understand what I'm saying? You have to be, all of a sudden, there's a real different thing. The team that shot the offender with the paint, number 7, the team that shot the offender with the paintball will do the best to move away from the action as soon as the paintball has reached its target to de-escalate the situation. Of course, they will have to control the situation with whatever force is needed if the movement away does not put an end to the violence or the threat. So just like the individual who's not in the 3-man team, once they call the SWAT team, the best thing they can do is move away. Don't stand there with their glass shields and push. Get the hell out of the way. Leave. Let the SWAT team do the job. Believe me, nobody wants to be involved with the SWAT team. And that's the way it's designed, and that's the way it should be. Number 8, there's to be no physical contact from either party of the confrontation before the SWAT team arrives, other than to search if they are calm enough to do that, and handcuffing if required. There would be no pushing or shoving, no swearing, no inappropriate behavior of any kind as the 3rd officer records the event. That felony charge will ruin a person's life, believe us, and that is if a person makes it through the SWAT team event alive. What they say? They said the felony charge, if you end up getting it, will ruin your life. I want to get this job. You got any felony charges? Yeah, I got this. No, you're not hired. Of course, the hiring and firing will be changed, but the life of a person with a felony charge on their record is not going to be as happy as if they turn around and walk away. So it could ruin a person's life. And of course, you have to have the fear of the SWAT team. I mean, you committed a felony and the SWAT team is coming. Don't make a mistake. Number 9, there are weapons available to the officer which are non-lethal, but stop any resistance. However, as we said, once a person has resisted any order, they could be stopped with a lethal force if needed, even if they're innocent of any other crime. In other words, they come over and see the police officer stopping somebody for a traffic violation, and they start to say something, the officer says, turn around, go away, you're not involved in this in any way. If you don't turn around and go away, you've committed a felony. No, it had nothing to do with the traffic stop. You committed a felony. See, so they're independent things. You can't say, I had nothing to do with it. I had nothing to do with it. If you didn't do what the officer said, you committed a felony, and that's horrible. And the result of it could be horrible. So once you understand that that's what's going on, then things change. They better change. If they don't change, there's going to be an awful lot of people. You understand. Understand, you and I, in the police role of our officers, have the right to stop anyone for any reason unless it's restricted reason, and restricted reasons come from the review of the recording videos coming from that 3rd officer by the group that's in charge. Crime prevention group will review all those recordings and say, some of these things you cannot do. They tell the officer, you cannot do these are restricted. And the officer, obviously intelligent enough to be able to take orders, takes orders. Will control any person with force if needed, but the police will also be controlled by the video taken at the scene, and certain activities restricted by policy review. If you have an officer who cannot or will not follow these restrictions, he or she faces removal from the force and even brought into the legal system for correction. So again, they say, the police officer is not the good buddy that you can't throw in court. The officer, if the video shows it, can be thrown into prison, can be thrown in jail. If you are at a crime site, and number 10, if you're at a crime site and not involved in any way, turn around, walk away. If they stop you and say get in line, get in line. It's going to take you, I don't know, minutes. If they go down through you, get to you and find out that you were just walking by, okay, go with them. They have a picture of you that they've taken so that they know who you are in case down the road they find out that you did have something to do with it. But if you say you didn't have anything to do with it, and it seems like you didn't, okay, walk away. If you see something or know something, shouldn't you take the time to help the officer? That's the question. If you are somehow involved, shouldn't the officer have the right to question you? Here we recommend that you cannot lie to an officer, or again, you may be committing a felony. Now, there's again an additional thing. You can't lie to a police officer. No, we all know you don't have to testify against yourself, but they've changed it. They've changed it. They say you cannot lie to the officer because, number one, if you lie to an officer, you're committing a felony. Number two, understand the officers must prevent any crime or contain the one if it's in progress. To do that, we have to give them or her great power, and one of those powers is the ability to get the truth from anybody. To hold back or lie can be a felony, and even if you did nothing else, you could be charged with a felony and have to go through the criminal system for that crime. Also understand that none of what you tell a police officer can be used in a court of law unless you say it again with the officer of the people's right by your side, of course. Not what are they saying here? We are saying that the police have the need and the right to know the truth about what's happening in any event they are party to. That will keep us all much safer. However, you also have the right to have rights, and one of those rights is not to testify against yourself. Still, here you are telling the police officer that you shot the man and there are no others involved. Now, you understand that you're saying that, and it's true. One of the things that happens is you're saying nobody else was involved and you shot. So the police officer now knows what's going on and they know how to control the situation. So, like they say, so the officer now knows what's happening and whether there's any more people involved. That makes the officer safer, and anyone who's around the area is also safer. The problem is that you've just testified against yourself, and that is not legal. Even in the new system, you cannot testify against yourself. So you're taken to the police station and they begin to question you. However, this time you have an officer of the people's right by your side, and he or she is making the questioning legal. Then the only information that can be used in a court of law is the information obtained while the officer of the people's right was by your side counseling you as to what to say or not to say. So you see, the big change there. The officer of the people's right has to be there in order for it to be used in court. Police officer says the person said that he shot him. Nope, you can't use that in court. You understand that you've got written documents that the jury is judging you by, whether you're guilty or not. And in the written thing, you cannot say that the person admitted to it if the people's officer of the people's right was not there, helping you, making sure that you didn't say that, if you will. So you don't testify yourself, and don't testify against yourself. To go on with the court system, only evidence obtained legally can be used in a court of law. Remember when we told you that it had to be obtained legally? You can't use illegal information in a court of law. With the government gathering information in all manners of ways, and most of them illegally obtained, we are not able to control that process. However, as we said in the court system appendix, when it comes time for any information to be used in court or any other place where it can affect you or your life negatively, it has to be gotten legally or it cannot be used. Do you understand what that means? Illegally obtained information cannot be used in the court of law, and if proven to have been obtained illegally, it has to be thrown out. In other words, it doesn't go into the document that the jury sees. And any information found by using the illegally obtained information also has to be thrown out. any information obtained after, they got that illegal information, they have to prove that it wasn't gotten, the other information wasn't gotten because they had the illegally obtained information. It has to be thrown out. Hiring and firing, which will come to an end here, but any other place where it is used against you becomes illegal, and the person or persons that are using that illegal information to affect any decision that is detrimental to you has committed a crime and enters the legal system. That is your great power. The use of the illegal information in any manner will greatly reduce the ability of a convicted person in court because it taints all the other information gained legally. That illegal information in any manner will greatly reduce the ability to convict a person. Why? Because they throw it out, and they throw out anything that they might have gotten and figured out from that illegal information, unless the court can prove that no illegally obtained information was used to get the legal information. No illegal information was used to get any information because, and you can figure out what's going to happen. Let's tell you just what that'll cause. Well, actually, never mind. You can easily see the process used by the officer of the people's rights to get all manner of testimony and evidence thrown out. Your government will be terrified to have any illegal information gathered for any reason because the officer of the people's right will smile every time. The court will have to prove that no illegal information was used in any of the processes to gather legal information. You can easily see that illegal information will be very dangerous to collect and disastrous to use. Now, that protects you, you see. The obvious exception, of course, will be information that relates to the prevention of a crime from a foreign agent and the conviction of a foreign agent for the crime or an attempted crime. The agent has no right in this country, say, to be removed or imprisoned using whatever means and whatever information is available. They have no citizens' rights. So you know who the police are, what equipment they can use, what rights they have now, and how their arrest works. Now there are two areas that need to be discussed that they might use that we're going to talk about. And the first one is the sting operation. The sting operation is probably going to be the main effort used to stop crime. You can see that before it's committed. There should not be any reason why we cannot use that method as long as it's witnessed and recorded. Of course, we can't allow entrapment, where in criminal law, entrapment is a practice whereby a law enforcement agent induces a person to commit a crime, offense, or criminal offense that the person would otherwise have been unlikely to commit. That's what the law reads. That's what the law should read. We cannot do that, and our recording should stop that practice. The problem with the sting would be that it's used on a selected group. But in the new system, the law will read that it's practiced equally, enforced equally, the law, you understand, and that ability to do a sting enforced legally and no prejudice will be allowed. But the prejudging is no longer a crime or wrong, so if a green man with a long overcoat and carrying a gun is committing almost all kinds of killing of police officers, they will be profiled, and that is as it should be. There will be a law that there will be the law so that many beep, 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 beep. That will be the law, so there will be many that will be the law, so there may well be a large group of well-dressed and mannerly people who go to jail. No matter who is being arrested in this thing, if they're going to commit a crime, they will enter the justice system. What we're trying to say is that 99% of the people that are caught are green. Then let no group cry foul for including green people or catching green people or profiling green people or even discussing it. If 99% of the people that were our sting operation runs legally caught, 99% of them, and they're green, then let no group say anything more about it. We're going to stop the crime by whatever means necessary. The crime prevention unit of the police force are there to prevent crime, not catch criminals. It surely cannot matter who is being caught in the sting as long as the sting is covered all crimes caused by any people regardless of sex, race, age, and so on. In other words, we'll use a sting for everything if we have to and put an end to it. But you see what they said above, that you're not going to catch somebody by trying to talk them into causing a crime. The object is to get a person who's gonna cause a crime, and the sting catches them. There must be no safe action or place where a criminal can do his work. There can be no area of action that is immune from the sting operation. The crime prevention unit has to stop crime and stay out of people's way as they live their lives, just like the government is required to do. The do-gooders cry unfair and must be stopped and put to rest. Do-gooders are going to say, no, look at all these green people are being thrown in jail. Well, all these green people are committing the crimes. The person committing the crime or even thinking about committing the crime is who we look at, and it's who we interact with, no matter who they are. If a sting catches all manner of persons with suits and ties, we'll still have to go on with the effort until those who would commit that crime are in the criminal system and stop. Are you kidding me? They're gonna get people with suits and ties? Yes. They're gonna put stings on people with suits and ties also. Not just the low guy, but the high guy. Gonna put a sting on them. The rules of the sting are locked, and they can't talk somebody into something, but they can sure catch somebody that's planning it. So what we're saying is that it is good to catch the criminal before the crime is committed and not be presented as wrong as the greedy overchargers would have you believe. Wrong, you're wrong. No, leave them alone. The do-gooders and the greedy overchargers, it's too bad that if you want to take a good look at it, the guy that stole the loaf of bread is just not the same as the guy that stole half of your savings. The guy that stole half of your savings never got charged with anything in our system now. In the new system, that person will go to prison and probably go behind the fence. You understand? Just because you have a suit and tie and you're respected, blah, blah, and you do something wrong, it doesn't matter. The justice. That's the key for the whole system. Justice. You have to remember that's what it is. So you catch people and all of them have suits and ties and they're very well respected. That's too bad. We'll put an end to all of the games that are illegal and all of the fraud and if a sting catches all manner of persons with suits and ties, then we still have to go on with the effort until those who commit the crime are in the criminal system and stopped. What we are saying is that it's good to catch a criminal before the crime is committed, and we don't want to be presented as wrong by the greedy overchargers or the do-gooders. Therefore, whoever is doing the crime must be stopped no matter who she or he is, and that will catch overchargers as well as the stereotype criminal now being envisioned. We'll be catching the overcharger too, and they don't like that. And they're going to win. So the sting is we're saying right here it's okay. It should be used, and anybody who's caught in a legal manner should go to prison or at least go into the legal system. Sting in every area of the law and an elimination of crime is our intent and not what some groups want. Gunslingers, those gunslingers don't want that. Greedy overchargers don't want that. Do-gooders don't want that. All the rest of you who complain about the groups being, and all the rest of anybody else who complains about a certain group being arrested, it is time to take back our country. Okay, now the next thing they go to is another problem that we're going to see, and that is snitches, what you call snitches. There are so many methods used by greedy overchargers to get what they want, and political correctness is one of them. An attempt here is to make it okay to cover for a person or persons whose activities are legal because they're part of your group. Now, let me go back over that again. The attempt here is to make it okay to cover for a group or persons whose activities are illegal because they're part of your group. If you're a motorcycle gang and one of your motorcycle gangs does something and you know it, you can cover for him and not testify because they're part of your group. That means you cover for, don't testify against, don't turn in any person who commits or is going to commit a crime if they're part of your group. That person is part of your race or gender or social position in the culture, sexual level of appearance, a close member of your religion, or even just a friend. If the crime is being or is going to be committed and you know about it, you can be charged as an accessory to that crime if you do not report the crime to the police or try to stop it from happening. No, that's kind of a law, but it's not enforced in that manner, like motorcycle gang. With the political correctness thing in force now, we are not even allowed to talk about the fact that crime is being committed. What does all this mean? It means that we have to change our concept of he or she is one of us and we do not snitch on our own. That's the thing that we have to change. Okay, now what did they say? They said we have to change our concept. He or she is one of us and we do not snitch on our own. Watch any criminal movie and you will see that concept repeated over and over again. You do not snitch on any of us criminals. We do not report a crime or tell the police who did the crime because that would be snitching, and the criminals tell you that snitching is wrong. Telling on your boss is wrong. The Wikipedia leaks was wrong. Were they wrong? Have your son not get away with murder because you snitched on him is wrong. Why? Because those who are doing the wrong will tell you that it's wrong. Think about what you're doing here. Because your boss is a nice guy, you don't squeal on him either, which is just not going to happen. Because the person finally had the courage to tell us just what the government is up to, we're saying that it's okay not to tell on that. It is time for you to see just where you lose your power to be heard in this country. It isn't only the big bosses that own you, it's also you being lied to and you believing it. It is not wrong to snitch with exceptions. It is not wrong to be a whistleblower with exceptions. Well, now look at there. It's not wrong to be a snitch, but you have to have certain exceptions. But it's not wrong to be a whistleblower. And they tell you over and over and over again that it's wrong to be a whistleblower. Why? Because you're telling on rich. You're telling on people that are important. In fact, the whistleblower should be rewarded in relation to the value of their information. There must also be severe punishment for those who want to try to punish in any way, by the way, a person who has divulged the information that we need to have or need to know. Now, those who will complain about all this, number one, for you people that are going to complain, number one, snitching is just to get someone else snitching to get someone else in trouble and benefit no one is wrong. To do that, you're trying to make yourself look better, not trying to help others. Instead of trying to look better, why not be better? Number two, because of the present negative view in the government, business, and your social groups, snitching or whistleblowing is seen as a bad thing. Until that view has been changed by education and the understanding that the criminal element should not be the ones dictating your views on anything, you will have to be careful. When the truth is realized, and only then you will consider it a need and reward it. Snitching. When you finally figure out, what did they say? They said, you realize that the criminal element in this country is dictating your view on that. They're calling it snitching. Baloney. It's not snitching. It's one of the things that they do in the legal system. The test of right or wrong in snitching or whistleblowing is always who does it help? Who does it hurt? Do you see now that informing authorities about what you know or letting the people know what needs to be told is a good thing, not snitching, like criminals try to tell you? So what they've done is they said snitching is good, and stop calling it snitching and call it rewarded. It's something that should be done, and the people who have done it have been punished afterwards by those that are in power, but they've done us a great service, and it's time to take that into account and reward them for it. So you can begin to see how things are more different there. That understood, it is time that we point out who's doing the crime in this country and going to work on why they are doing it rather than hiding behind political correctness. But so, we can't talk about it. Well, what do you mean? Well, it's snitching. You can't talk about it. No, things will change, and we'll start talking about if 99% of the green people with trench coats are committing crime, then you got to talk about it. Don't say that we're prejudiced. Don't say anything like that. We're just going to talk about what's true. Now you're probably thinking that we're going to point at the blacks and those from Mexico and talking about the way they're doing what they're doing, and we're going to do just that. What? Now you're probably thinking that we're going to point at the blacks and those from Mexico and talking about what they're doing, and we're going to do just that. However, along with the pointing at those groups, we're going to point at a much more damaging group that is not even looked at as crimes are committed because of the prejudice. The white man stock trader, the white man banker, the white man government official, those people are almost untouchable because they are greedy overchargers, and the overchargers give you the advertising saying, leave them alone. What are they saying? If we go to the top persons that take the most money, it's going to be the white banker, the white, each one of those things that you just absolutely are not allowed to talk about. The white government official, the stock trader, those are the people that steal your money. And we're not even talking about them because it's supposed to be incorrect, but you understand it's the overchargers. They're making sure they defend their own, and they say to leave those people alone. Get over your prejudice. Black, white, brown, doesn't make any difference. If they're causing a crime, we need to be free to talk about them in the numbers and percentages. We need to be able to sting them and get them to stop no matter what group they are in or how many there are in the group committing the crimes. The do-gooder is almost always wrong, and we need to be able to give us, because it's the police officers, any information about anything that is going to go on without someone screaming prejudice, wrong, unfair. That is what the information is all about. It has to be true if it is, and if it is, then we can talk about it. And so if they've got the information and they've got it laid out, they can talk about it. So that's the thing that you got to deal with. And you can call it prejudice if you want, but it isn't, and it's something that we need to do.